blessing, money, testimony. Go they follow, you they go.
This year, good news, giant plenty balling. Go they follow, you they go.
Sometimes I'm mystery, sometimes I'm free, depending on my mood or my attitude. Sometimes I wanna roll or stay at home, walk in contradiction, get some factual and fiction. A little crazy, little sexy, little cool, little rough around the edges, but I keep it smooth. I'm always left to center and it's right where I belong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program is about to begin.
I don't really give a f if I was just the only one like that. I never like to follow others around to chase the sun. Oh me, oh my.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of Black Enterprise, Earl Butch Graves Jr.
Okay, ladies, please take your seats. Well, good morning, ladies. Did you enjoy last night's Legacy Awards dinner? That was fantastic. We had 3 wonderful women that we honored. Well, good morning, and once again, welcome to the 18th Annual Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit. You know, each year we strive to equip you with the necessary tools needed to shatter that glass ceiling, and this year, like everyone for the past 18 years, is no exception. This year's theme, Unveiling Excellence, Reflect, Rise, Act, encapsulates the essence of growth, empowerment, and action. Our intention is to encourage you to reflect on your past achievements, to rise above the challenges and take meaningful action towards excellence in all aspects of your life. Reflection is not just about looking back on your past accomplishments, but understanding the journey that has brought you to your present status. Through intimate roundtable discussions and one-on-one coaching sessions, I encourage you to delve deep into your experiences, identifying the pivotal moments, challenges overcome, and lessons learned. Now, by understanding how we've navigated our paths, we can be more focused on shaping our future paths. Rising is about being inspired by the remarkable achievements of women like our legacy and luminary honorees, those who have served as beacons of possibility, demonstrating what can be accomplished through determination, resilience, and leadership. The positive energy generated by connecting with over 1,800 other Black women who share similar challenges and ambitions, I promise, will leave you feeling uplifted and empowered to reach new heights. But inspiration alone is not enough. As I spoke about a little bit yesterday, action is the key to turning aspirations into reality over these next few days. You'll gain access to proven strategies and tools to advance your careers, enhance your leadership skills, and increase your value. From practical tips to actionable insights, plan to leave equipped with the knowledge and confidence to implement positive changes when you return home. This summit is a catalyst for personal and professional growth, driving lasting change into your lives and the communities you serve. So, here's to embracing your potential, seizing opportunities, and making a positive impact on the world around us. Let us all reflect, rise, and act together towards a brilliant, brighter future filled with excellence. Lastly, we invite you to network and share your experiences through social media using the hashtag BEWPS, because it is your voice that will resonate long after the summit has ended. Again, that's hashtag BEWPS. It is now my pleasure to recognize and welcome our new title sponsor, Accenture. Give them a round of applause. They have been a valued partner and truly instrumental in collaborating with us to produce an exceptional summit for each of you. Please join me in welcoming the Managing Director and the South Market COO for Accenture, Tamara D. Fields.
Thanks, Butch. Good morning, ladies. Are y'all feeling good this morning? Yes? I have to say, everyone's looking beautiful today, and y'all looked really good last night. I am really very excited to be here today, not only for Accenture, but for each and every one of us. Praise the Lord. I'm waiting for my script to keep moving, so I hope everybody will will bear with me today. So the first thing I want to say is I'm truly thankful that Accenture is the proud sponsor of the 2024 Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit. As Butch stated, I'm Tamara Fields, and I am very excited to be here with you as the South Market COO. And you know, one of the things I especially love about this event is the fact that it's no other event like this where we're allowed as women to come together and be professional and corporate representation in this room. Overall, when I think about Accenture and where we are, not quite sure what's happening this morning. I'm just gonna, do y'all mind if I just wing it? Are y'all good with that? Okay. I'm gonna ask them to keep this script moving because I did have a really awesome quote for you. There's no other conference quite like this because this is an opportunity for us to come together as women in business. And I just want you to look at the room and I want you to think about how we've been able to support each other. And it's really important that we're able to do that. When I think about Accenture, I appreciate the fact that we are a corporation that is focused on diversity, inclusion, and justice, right? When I think about our board is 50% racially diverse. 50%. Yeah, that's a moment. In addition to that, we have more than 50% women on our board. Again, when I think about having a seat at the table, we were talking about that this morning. It's important not only that we have a seat at the table, but that our voices be heard. And I have to tell you that I believe I work at a place where my voice is heard, and not only that, I'm able to represent that voice loudly. At Accenture, we're driven by talent and innovation, leading the charge and driving transformative change in technology. In addition to that, last year, we made a $3 billion investment in data and AI, and we really are very excited about what is going to happen in the AI space to help us drive value for clients and for each of us in equity. And in fact, one of our key representatives here, Andrea, is going to be talking about how we can drive AI and how we can make sure it's equitable today, and I invite y'all to come to that session. I'm particularly excited to share with you one of our latest innovations, our ChatGPT Maya. Now, I have to tell y'all, I thought they missed the memo. I thought Maya should have been named Tamara. I don't know what happened there. It's very confusing to me. They missed the memo. But it's a fusion cutting-edge hologram technology, artificial intelligence, an experience where you can talk to her and really receive back from her. So I'm asking all of you to stop by our booth this morning to be able to do that. It's important for us to stay relevant in the changing landscape. Now, I don't know if y'all recognize that not only is this the last week of March, but this is also the last week of Women's History Month. And I've been really reflecting on the women who've come before. And this morning we were talking about legacy. We were talking about legacy last night. And I had to think about the fact that there were women who came before me, women like my grandmother, my mother, others who have deposited in me. And because of them, I'm here for the sacrifices that they made each and every day. And so I just wanted to take a moment for you to take a look at your table, and I want you to think about the women that have impacted you on your career journey. And this is an opportunity to say thank you. Look at somebody and say thank you. So I also wanted to say a special shout out to the women who made history last night, right? Thasunda Brown, Duckett, Melody Hobson, and Judy A. Smith. I like to do quotes, everybody, and so I picked this quote out for you because, again, I felt like, I don't know about you, but there is actual power in this room. Do y'all feel the power in this room? The power of connection, the power of network, the power of community. It's the power for all of us to help each other and to show each other the impact that we can make when we stand together. There's a quote by Corey Washington, and it says, "Real power is born of humility and grace of sisterhood." That's what empowerment means. It's the more power you share, the more power you have. The more power you have, the more power you must share. Let's make sure we all seize together this power, and that we not only make sure that we're seizing it for ourselves, that we're seizing it for each other, because the power is in how we support each other as a sisterhood. Now I have the privilege to present Conversations That Count, and I'm really excited about this session for you. Shattering the glass ceiling, that is something we're still doing, and only a handful of Black women have been able to make it to the top of corporate America. And we have a history maker. We have a history maker who's going to share how she got there and what it looks like to succeed. And our history maker is none other, Women of Power Legacy honoree, Thasunda Brown Duckett, President and CEO of TIAA. We are also going to be facilitated by Enterprise Vice President and Deputy Chief Content Officer Alisa Gumbs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Thasunda and Alisa. Thank you. Them play the Delta song for us, clearly. We couldn't resist.
We couldn't resist. Shout out to all the Zetas and the AKAs and the Sigma Gamma Rho. Let's get it all out.
Yes.
In the spirit of sisterhood.
All the sisters.
All the sisters.
Unfortunately, we don't have all day with you, so we're going to jump right into this as fun as we could chat. You often share that you come from humble beginnings, that you've known financial insecurities. What can you tell us about the experiences that you feel really formed you into the person that you are and prepared you for the ups and downs that you would face in your career?
Yes, well, my father, Otis Brown, always says, people see your glory, but they don't know your story. And so a couple of sound bites that I think will help you understand my why and my story. I was born to Otis and Rosie Brown. My dad grew up in Louisiana in the segregated South. My mother grew up in Alabama, segregated South. My father's home was burned down by the Ku Klux Klan. Just a lot of real stories. And so I'm first generation full integration. To just think about that for a moment. That has stuck with me in terms of their experiences and then their daughter's experience. I was born in Rochester, New York, and then we moved to New Jersey. My dad worked in a warehouse scanning boxes. My mother is an educator. A moment in life that I would say I visibly remember is my parents having bigger dreams than the budget. So they would sign us up for piano lessons, and then I was out of piano lessons. They tried to have my brothers and I all take karate, and I never got past white belt, yellow stripe. I know what it's like to open up the refrigerator and only see baking soda. But somehow, some way, there was a meal. I remember when we moved from New Jersey to Texas with everything that we owned in a car. So mom, dad, my two brothers, and myself. So I know what it's like to have everything that you own in a car with 5 people. You could imagine. And then starting my life in Texas sitting on crates as our furniture. But where we were short on money, we were long on love, we were long on character, we were long on faith, we were long in my mother, Rosie Brown, always telling us that if you see someone who doesn't have, you give them what you have, because somehow, some way you will have something when you get home. Mm-hmm. And so those moments stuck with me in a real way, because sometimes we have family that do their very best even when their best is not sufficient. And so part of their best was not sufficient, but it was their best. I saw them. Sports played a real impact in my life, and so understanding the power of teamwork, understanding on any given day, understanding that everyone plays a role. Those are lessons that I'm able to take with me to this moment. And then lastly, I would say the power of information and the power of advocacy. Mr. and Ms. Patterson told me about a program called Inroads. I never heard of Inroads. Because Mr. and Ms. Patterson told me about Inroads, that gave me exposure into this word called corporate. That's how I started my career at Fannie Mae, which through the power of information. But the power of advocacy. Through Inroads, as many of you all know, you interview. Fannie Mae had one internship role that they were looking for. Valerie Manning, who was just a recruiter, who had one job, which was to find that one intern. When she interviewed me, she went back to Fannie Mae and said, I found your intern. Her name is Sarah. But Valerie Manning, for whatever reason, said words that changed the course of my life. Valerie Manning said, but there's this other girl. The reason why I share this as I think about my career is you do not have to have a powerful title to understand what advocacy meant. Valerie Manning did not get a raise for adding another expense called an intern. Valerie Manning did not put that on her brag in her performance review. But for whatever reason, she said, but there's this other girl. And the reason why I think it's so important, especially for this audience, is to understand that we do have agency to say, but there's this other girl. And because Valerie Manning chose to say that, that started the course of my career, and here I am now speaking to all of you.
The intentionality in your career was to do good, which you've done at mission-oriented companies like Fannie Mae, like JP Morgan, and now TIAA. But was your intentionality ever also to climb to the top of the career ladder? Like, did you envision yourself as a CEO?
Yeah, you know, Sheryl Sandberg said in her book, Lean In, she said, if I would have mapped my career, I would have missed my career. So if someone would have told this younger self, what is your biggest dream? And I will give it to you. The biggest thing you wanted to accomplish, I would have fell short. I would have fell short. And so, no, my dream wasn't to run over $1.2 trillion in assets under management and, you know, like, no. That
trillion with a T.
Yeah, like, I didn't say, you know, my goal is to be the first woman CEO at TIAA or be the first African-American on the operating committee at JP Morgan Chase or be the first African-American woman on the board of Nike. No. My dad told me to reach for the moon. And even if I missed, I would be among the stars. My mother said, whatever you do it with excellence. So all I have always been trying to accomplish is the moon. And for me, it's about impact. My why is to make positive impact. And these moments along the way created platforms to make impact. I rent my title, I own my character. So the goal was never to achieve a rented title that ultimately you will have to give back. The goal is to make the biggest impact, particularly around financial inclusion. And having that as my North Star puts a fire in my belly that allows me to withstand the ups and the downs, that allows me to fall down and get back up, that allows me to have a level of unapologetic conviction that there is something really big at stake, and it definitely transcends whatever rented title I am aspiring to achieve. So no, I didn't think about the corporate ladder in that realm. I thought about the corporate ladder through the stage of impact. I will say this thing, I would have missed it. My big thing, I just want to run a P&L. Like managing 10 people with some numbers that I'm accountable for. That was my boom. That happened a long time ago. I would have fell woefully short. So I'm just reaching for the moon.
You just told us about your why,
yes.
But I want to get into the how.
Okay.
You've said part of the reason you've been able to get to this role is that so many times along your journey, you've had to get uncomfortable.
Yes.
But what did that look like for you?
All right, are y'all ready? Okay. I apologize in advance if anyone gets uncomfortable, respectfully. Yeah, there's a lot of moments. And so I remember when I was an account manager, managing pricing and underwriting, et cetera, and I had a client. And as you all know, if you're client facing, your goal is to establish a relationship. Well, this client, when I was covering the account, their relationship was established by going hunting and fishing. I was like 20-something years, wet, with Claire pearls on, the 3 for 30, with the cute bob, you know. And they said to me, T, you want to go hunting? And so in that moment, you say, do I fake it till I make it? Or what do I do? But remember I told you my dad's name is Otis Brown. And so I said, I am not getting in the woods with y'all having guns. I'm not going hunting. And they laughed and they were like, T, you want to go fishing? I'm like, you don't even take your wives fishing, a boat, alcohol, water. I said, but I knew they loved sushi. And I said, we can have sushi every Thursday. And that's what we did. The reason why I share this with you all is there's a couple of real lessons that was in that narrative. One, never lose the plot. The plot is to establish a meaningful, authentic relationship with your client. Me going hunting would not have been real, it would not have been authentic, and we would not have established a relationship. The truth is the other lesson. Regardless of my rented title, that was kind of their thing. They hadn't had a young woman, African-American woman in that relationship. And so they did not want me hunting with them no more than I wanted to go hunting with them. So be okay having that discernment. However, I had a responsibility, though, in that role, if I wanted to be client-facing, to know how to establish a relationship. So you could not stop in there and say, well, you know what, they want to do things that I just do not want to do. That is not what I'm here to do, and blah, blah, blah. No, semicolon. But I will continue to engage until I find something that they love and I love so that the relationship can be real and authentic. And that is exactly what we did. We had sushi every week. And so that was an uncomfortable moment. But if you don't lose the plot, there's so many ways to establish a real relationship. They just never was introduced to a woman in that relationship. They was never introduced to someone young or African American, that may have not been my alignment thing. So I'm not mad, no judgment. They could still go hunting, but we will do something different so that we can still accomplish the main thing. Never lose sight of the main thing. The second story that I will tell you about getting uncomfortable is how many times is there an opportunity that maybe required you to relocate? Anyone had that experience? And with your hands being up, how many of you said no to that opportunity? Keep it real. I remember I was in Texas and there was an opportunity for me to go to LA. And I was like, I can't do that because my husband is in Texas. I was not married or dating anyone, but I just knew my husband was in Texas. My husband was in Ohio, though. I was like, I can't do that. My friends are here. I don't know anyone there. My mom and dad, my family is here. I was telling myself every reason not to go when the truth was fear. I went, and it was uncomfortable. And I learned so much about myself. I learned to enjoy going out to eat by myself, like all the meals. I learned how to go to the movies. I learned how to understand myself. I learned how to deal with being overwhelmed and breaking out in hives because I was just so stressed, and then just thanking God for oxygen and lights and candles and everything I could say thank you for to calm me down. I had to learn myself. And so the uncomfortableness gave me comfort over time, because through my progression, there are so many times that I am uncomfortable. But because of those moments along the way, it doesn't have that overwhelming fear anymore, because I have recall. And so my encouragement to all of you is, in those uncomfortable moments is where you ultimately find your comfort over time, because those are those moments that in life and in roles and responsibilities that you will be so uncomfortable. You can go back to those moments where you were most uncomfortable, but you did it anyway. Do not talk yourself out of an opportunity. And finally, I have to tell you, I remember when I was 6 months pregnant with my second child, and remember my big aspiration was to run a P&L. That opportunity came to run, like, it was a big P&L. It was like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut kind of P&L. And I remember when the CEO of the mortgage company said, we would love for you to run the Northeast P&L. It's one of the largest P&Ls. My first words were like, I'm 6 months pregnant. This is not just gaining weight. It's going to be a Schedule C because my first child was a C-section. So I will be out 3. I literally gave him permission to go, you right. Never mind. So here I am in the moment to accomplish what I thought was the flex. And I am talking myself out and giving him a real out. That is something that I share, because so many times we talk ourselves out of a moment because we say the timing is not right. We say, well, I'm about to have my second child, or I just got here, or. Do not miss your shot. And it may not come at the time that you wanted. It came at an uncomfortable time. That now, having children, you get uncomfortable with your trade-offs. But because I made a decision when I thought I was most uncomfortable, I can still move forward and take more shots. So those are real uncomfortable moments that I thought would be helpful, hopefully, to all of you.
Yeah. One of the other pieces of advice that you give women, and I think is going to be so relevant for the women in this room, is to get out of their head. We were talking backstage, and you were like, it doesn't bother me when I'm the only Black woman in the room. It doesn't bother me when people think that the white guy who works for me is really the boss.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a hard thing to say, that it doesn't bother you. So can you talk about that?
I mean, you get in your feelings, do not get me wrong. We're all human. But what I learned is something that, again, Rosie Brown said. When someone sends you something in the mail that's not really addressed to you, you return it to sender. So when people may look at me and judge me incorrectly, why am I going to open that mail? It does not belong to me. And so what I've learned is that the reality is, when I am the only in the room, I am never by myself in the room. I have Harriet, Shirley, Mama, my daughters. I have this sisterhood. Sometimes I got to go real deep in that Rolodex when I go into a room to affirm myself. But the point is, you are never in a room by yourself. The rent has been paid. You are collecting in that room. So you belong in that room. I learned that sometimes we may be the only. You may look up and not see someone that looks like you because tag, you're it. Put the uniform on and be the first. That's why you're the one in the room. So get out of your head with the mental gymnastics. The mental gymnastics are real, but you have to remind yourself that you belong in the room. You have to affirm yourself. You have to open up your mouth and speak, and don't miss the moment. And that is something that I learned, but in order to do that, and you heard it from Melody, make sure you are prepared to open your mouth. Make sure that you have done the work. Make sure that it's not just what you say, it's the receipts that back it up. And right now, there's a lot of opportunity to not deliver full receipts. If you are on your at-home day, you just roll out of bed and turn it on, but don't turn your camera on. You missed a receipt. The company says it's a minimum of 3 days. You've adopted a minimum mentality. You only go in for 3 days. You have trained your mind to be mid. When have we ever been okay doing minimum? So I do think we have to get out of our head and watch the head fake. The head fake of telling you you only have to do X, but yet you want Y. Only doing mid does not get you Y. Do not take the bait. Understand that whatever the minimum is, the job is excellence. So let's be excellent in every way and never take the out. It doesn't mean you don't take a time out. You just don't take the out. And so those are the things with these mental gymnastics as we're trying to reconcile so much. Mental health, we're heavy. You know, do I belong? Am I going to get this next job? I'm delivering and I'm not getting promoted. You have to change your mindset, because if you don't, it will weigh you down and you will start a self-fulfilled outcome. Lastly, I will say this. Right now, I know that some of you are at a crossroads. You're like, you know what? My manager is not giving me what I believe I deserve. You know what? I don't know if this company is for me. You know what? I don't know if I can do this job. I invite you to ask a different question. What is the lesson in this moment? And have I accomplished it, received it, and learned from it? And if not, am I capable of going through this lesson or not? If you are not capable because it's too overwhelming, then you need to exit to protect yourself. But if you are capable of getting a little gritty, getting a little bit uncomfortable, you can learn a lesson on how to deal with a manager that may not be great. You may learn how to operate in a culture where you had to deliver gifts for that culture so that they could be better for someone else. Because when you become a CEO, you will have all of that in your portfolio. And if at every moment along the way, those opportunities of getting uncomfortable you passed, you will not be able to carry the bear of leading at scale. You will not have been trained because you opted out all the time. And so I would encourage you all to reframe the opportunity and invite yourself to say, I need to hone some agility. I need to hone how to deal with someone who is mid and see, can I make them better? I need to learn, how can I connect with a leader? Because clearly there is something going on in their life to be this awful. So I need to spread some good energy, because maybe that could be their unlock, and because of me, they could become the leader that they really wanted to be. And ultimately, I'm depositing into my toolkit. Or I'm not ready for that. I'm just not ready. It will break me and I need to exit. Those are the different conversations that I think we have to have. And I think if we don't, we will continue to invite conversations that are not in forward motion. We will continue to operate, like I said last night, with what the facts are today, but we're so bogged down in the facts of today that we don't work to create a different set of facts for tomorrow. So those are the kinds of lessons that I would say around the mental gymnastics and the why. And then finally, y'all, we have to tell ourselves the truth. Some of us are operating mid and expecting magic. Some of us need a jolt. Some of us need to invite our sisterhood to tell us the truth because we're all slowing down. Some of us need to invite a conversation to say, let's go back and shop our closet, let's put our clothes on, let's get into that office and build relationships, let's connect. When I'm on Zoom, how do I operate as if this is my office? Turn the camera on, engage and follow up, have coffee, get back to the things that make us great. Being isolated, being by ourselves, saying negative things, talking about all the problems in the world with no solutions is all hat, no cattle. It's empty calories. So those are the things that I am learning. And that is why moments like this is so important, because we all have those time out moments. We just need to make sure that we have a sisterhood that ensures we're not out. We're just taking a moment. And I think we need that more than ever, especially as we fight to ensure that there are more of us that are breaking the glass ceiling, that are more of us that are picking up the glass and scattering it so the next person doesn't get cut on their way to breaking a ceiling. Those are the things that we have to do.
You're coming up on 3 years now,
Yes.
leading TIAA. What has surprised you about being a CEO?
I mean, it's a lot going on right now. And I would say to be a CEO today, you are carrying a level of weight that is multi-dimensioned. You are thinking about things that may have been a natural reaction. Of course, this is a good thing. What you knew is good is being challenged. What you knew was right is being viewed as wrong. We are living in a culture of either or instead of and. And I think what is surprising me is that everything that I learned growing up is exactly what I'm bringing to the table in being a CEO. That even when it's tough, you speak up anyway. If you know it's right, you do what's right. You create space to know that your narrative is not your narrative, so create space to listen to the counter narrative. I'm learning that you do need a moat. Everyone does not want you to win. Everyone doesn't want goodness. And so being able to surround myself with a moat is so necessary and required. It is not easy advocating, but the why and understanding that I get the privilege to lead a storied company with an impactful mission. I just want this mission to be relevant for everyone. I want everyone to have the ability to retire with dignity. I want everyone to be at a company that they can belong and be the best version of themselves. I believe that everyone has agency. And lastly, I would say that I'm learning more than ever the essence of who I am, the things that people may have tried to dim or operate at a discount, is the premium that is needed as a leader. The story that we know, the trials that we know, knowing what it means not to be seen, knowing what it means to be so good and still being denied, knowing what it's like for people to define you by a job. Knowing all of that is what's needed. So your story is the premium. It is not the discount. Your story, your being is what leadership needs right now. They need vision. They need empathy. They need curiosity. They need resilience. They need grit. They need team. Everything that we know that people fought for is exactly what's needed in this moment, even when there may be some that are telling you is exactly not what's needed. It's exactly what's needed. So make sure you continue to press on, make sure that you continue to do the good work. And I know for me, being in moments like this, I cannot get tired. The windshield is way bigger than the rearview mirror, and this windshield is wide, which means I believe that me being a CEO of an amazing company, I have an opportunity to make sure that more people can ascend and feel like they can have a shot. Lastly, I must say this. We also have to realize it's not an either or. Many of my allies do not look like me. Many of the people that have advocated for me are not all women. They're not all black. They are white, they are male, they are in every sector. So sometimes you may walk into a room that on the surface looks uncomfortable. Show up anyway, because your advocacy could be waiting for you, and you chose to opt out.
Ladies, we have 5 minutes for questions, and it is a hard stop because Thasunda has to get on a plane. So we have time for 2 questions. There are 2 mics at the front. The first 2 people to get here and ask 2 very brief questions will get them answered. Didn't she say don't miss your moment? No one has a question?
This looks like The Price is Right. Come on down.
Come on down.
I just wanted to thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your words. I think you were speaking exactly to me when you said, you know, some of us are at a crossroads, and don't accept the mid, show up anyway. If they say 4 days a week, show up for the 5th day. I just wanted to know, what's your advice for people who are also thinking about stepping out on their own and starting something that they truly believe in because of the mission and because they want to have the impact? It's like, what are maybe 2 or 3 things you would consider before making that jump as well?
Yeah, I mean, such a great question. By the way, impact is not in a rented position. I believe my impact is working in corporate America.
Right.
Your impact can be starting and creating the next version of a company that could be in corporate America.
I hope
So, so my point is, if that is in your spirit, then take the next step in pursuit of that.
Okay.
Do the work, do the research, and by the way, while you're in your current role, that may be your boot camp.
That's a good point.
So I hope that while you are showing up every day in your role with excellence, because being an entrepreneur requires excellence every day.
Yeah.
I hope while you're showing up in your current role, you're not saying, I can't believe they're asking me to do this, because being an entrepreneur, you'll be asking yourself to do this. Okay, let's tell the truth.
Yes.
Tell the truth. So if you have a passion to make impact in a different way, don't lose the lesson on how to prepare yourself in your current role to operate in the role you aspire. You don't wake up like this.
That's true. Facts.
Okay? So do the work in your current role.
Okay.
Make that part of your game plan, because again, the goal is not the job, the goal is the impact.
Right.
So how are you making impact in your current role in order to bridge you to the bigger impact you want to make in your new opportunity? Okay, that's
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the discussion today. My name is Ola McLean. My question to you is, in today's current environment, there's so many different employers stepping back from D&I, or they're calling it something different. From your perspective, how do we continue to carry the torch and really continue to forge ahead with the mission within our roles, regardless of what we do at the company? How do we kind of be a champion for that continued work, especially when we may face pushback?
Sure. Yeah, listen, it's real.
Yeah.
Don't lose the plot. For me, being a CEO, the plot is talent. And however I need to create capacity to ensure that I can identify talent and to ensure that talent can prosper at this company in order to deliver the objectives of the company, that is my responsibility as a leader. Regardless of what you want to call it or not, the outcome cannot be that I am going to restrict talent. I am going to restrict talent that could help us understand global economies, artificial intelligence, data and analytics. Why in the world would I restrict the talent? So what I would say to all of you, yes, there are companies that are being challenged. Yes, we are all being challenged. But I am not being challenged to restrict talent. I am not being challenged to ensure that I can get the best out of every associate. You can call it whatever you want. I call it ensuring that this company will be around for the next 100 years. I call it making sure that I can get the competitive advantage and attract people that you may think should be excluded, but they are actually going to be the ones that will drive outsized impact for the company. So do not get tired. My advice to all of you is, yes, there is a retractment. Yes, all of it is true. The question is, what are you going to do? How can you compound the opportunity? And this too shall pass. Finally, I would say, in our worst day today, it's not our worst day in the culture. In the worst day today, the giants that we stand on, this is a layup. So why are we getting tired? We have to continue to move forward. Pressure makes diamonds. We may bend, but we will not break. And we will not dim our light because there is value that we can deliver to the company. And so for you that are in management, do not stifle your voice because you just trying to make it. That mindset will be you out too. So understand that it is a we thing, but then you also do need to make sure you understand the dynamics of the company and have the agility to figure out, how do I allow this opportunity to breathe within my company, even if the game has shifted? Are we no longer playing Monopoly, we're playing chess? Well, I will learn how to play chess. The objective is to still win the game. Yeah. You just have to understand that you may be playing a different game. So don't keep trying to collect $200 in chess.
Everyone.
Oh, one thing I gotta say.
Oh, you got one more thing to say.
And I know I have to go, but I would be remiss. Everyone asks about work-life balance and how do I do it all. Work-life balance is a lie. Write that down. And instead, what I learned through experience is that work-life balance was a lie because it never reconciled. I ended up trying to do the balance thing, and I was catching an L in motherhood, daughterhood, sisterhood, the whole nine.
All the hoods.
All the hoods. I shifted my perspective to live my life like a diversified portfolio, and yes, I am financial services. So here's the deal. Write down everything that matters to you, and remember, it has to add up to 100%. It's a lie, you do not have 110%. Tell yourself the truth. My children do not get 100% of me, they get 30 on a good day. The reality is there will be life volatility, just like market volatility. You may need to recalibrate your portfolio. You might need to short the stock. But when I told myself the truth about being a mom and they only get 30%, I stopped multitasking in front of my children. I started to be way more present because I understood they only have 30. When I was telling myself that lie, I was not as present. The reality is, if you live your life like a diversified portfolio, everything that matters to you is in it. I'm a mother, I'm a philanthropist, I'm a CEO, all the things, and I allocate. I give myself grace to recalibrate based on life conditions. But if I live my life like a diversified portfolio, over time, just like your money, you will outperform. I am outperforming this thing called life because everything that matters to me is in my portfolio. I understand that no one thing can have 100%. That's very risky. You do not put all your money in one stock. Do not put all your money and all your life, all your spirit and energy into one thing. My children do not have 100% of me because I am more than a mom. Do not do that. If you do that, you will outperform this thing called life because everything that matters to you is in your portfolio, and you will learn the power of no Because when my allocation for my children is 30% and my mentorship is 5%, and someone says, can you just mentor me for 15 minutes? I can say no, because that would impede on that 30% stock I have over here. I'm over allocated on mentoring, or I'm over allocated on something else. So it gives me grace. So live your life like a diversified portfolio. You will outperform this thing called life. It will have its highs and lows and ups and downs, but I am jealous of me, because everything that matters to me is in my portfolio, and I am living a life of joy. So that's it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. They're going to want a picture here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Digital Editor at Black Enterprise, Sydney Duyan.